What is going on, everybody? It's Shaq Central, and this is the video that everyone has been asking for. Welcome to Vortex Wand Crafting for Everyone. This is the first video in a series that's going to detail how to craft your own gear for your Vortex character. So some of the gear is going to be cheap and easy to make. Some of it is going to be a little bit more expensive than others. And for some of the pieces, like the wand, you're going to have multiple different ways to craft at different investment levels. So just up front, my goal is pretty simple. If there's a choice between multiple crafting methods, I'm going to show the one that I believe has the best return and the best power level for a reasonable amount of investment. As our example for today, the quote-unquote perfect Vortex wand would ideally have, you're looking at two mods, it would ideally have both +1 to cold spell skill gems and +1 to all spell skill gems, in addition to either a crafted cold dot multiplier mod or another good damage mod or two. However, purchasing a wand like this would cost you somewhere between 30 and 100 plus exalts. So I want to show you real quick what we'd be looking at there. So this is a good example. I'm going to show you the filters. We're looking at a wand with both of the +1 to skills, and then any of the following: any natural cold dot multi, crafted cold dot multi, spell damage, cold damage, any good mod. And this is what we hit in a search that I did about 10 minutes ago. So as an example, this first wand is just a price fixer. This guy's been up for 2 days. I whispered him to see. He's not really selling this, so we can ignore that. But this starts here. Look at 35x, 40x, 50, and 120, and that's it. Not only are they super expensive, there's not a lot out there. So in comparison with these, what I would consider to be overpriced +2 wands, the crafting method that I'm going to show you today is about 5 to 10 times cheaper. No joke, 5 to 10 times cheaper, and it will still result in an extremely powerful wand. For multiple reasons, this crafting method has remained fairly obscure, but I cannot stress enough how effective this method is going to be at cranking out very powerful wands. At the end of this video, I'm going to take this wand that I just showed you, that 35x wand. I'm going to take it into Path of Building along with our newly crafted wand, and I'm going to show you the dirty secret of the +2 wands, and that is the DPS difference between those wands and our wand is only going to be like 5%. It's so low. It's basically no difference. Which makes this an incredibly good method for obtaining your endgame wand, and it's going to be at a fraction of the going market rate. So, with that being said, before I describe the wand that we'll be crafting, and before I dive into the document and the examples that I prepared, I want to be extremely clear. I did not come up with this method myself. I first heard about this method from the incredibly good, the great Carverosco. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, because I can't roll that R, but the great Carverosco did this method. I don't know if he did it himself or worked with someone else on it, but about a year ago, he put out a video showing how to craft endgame wands that are done in a very unique way. Somehow this still hasn't really caught on as an incredible way to craft amazing wands. His video is about 45 minutes long. It goes into extreme detail. We're only going to be using one of the methods that he discussed, but his video is going to be linked in the description, and you should absolutely go watch it. You should be subscribed to him if you're not already. He will blow your mind with every video that he puts out with his knowledge of Path of Exile, but you should absolutely go watch this video in particular in its entirety. It is a masterpiece. So with that being said, let's get to our wand that we'll be making today. The end result of our crafting process is that you will end up with a wand that looks like this. Set this up, finished wand. This is almost going to be identical. I mean, it is. It's going to be identical when we're done with it. So if you see here, you're going to have the 3 prefixes. You're going to have a very high % spell damage. You're going to have +1 to the level of your cold spell skill gems. And then you're going to have a few crafted things. If you notice, we'll be able to multi-mod at the end of this. So you'll have a crafted level 3 cold dot, and basically the highest amount, the highest craftable level cold dot multi-roll. You'll have the multi-mod itself, and then your final one is going to be a flex mod. I'll talk about that in just a second, but note down here, you're also going to be able to get your aspect of the spider taken care of. This flex spot can be whatever you want. The traditional route, kind of, is going for the trigger mod, which we'll talk about down there in a little bit when it's time to make your decision. But there are some very good alternatives. I've discussed this a lot in the Vortex guide, but the trigger is still really good. However, the trigger is also not necessary. You do not need a trigger wand to play Vortex at the highest level. So you do have a choice here. You can do the trigger mod. You can do a 13 to 16% cold damage craft. You can even do the 30 to 49% spell crit chance. There's a couple more that might even be slightly viable in a pinch if you're in, if you're in SSF or anything like that. You can craft on whatever you want. But then again, you'll finish it out with Aspect of the Spider. Now, here's what makes this method so kind of interesting, unique, and in my opinion, kind of not very well known, or at least it hasn't caught on quite as much, and that's that we'll be crafting onto this. We'll be crafting onto one of these bad boys. Yep, that's right. We are going to be making a driftwood wand as our endgame cold dot wand. It's going to be item level 2. This is for one very big, very hopefully easily understandable method once you see it. So let's go over to Craft of Exile just for a second, and then we're going to get into the rest of the document, which is the crafting method. So if we put in a driftwood wand in here, we set it to item level 2. We're just going to, we're going to be crafting it with woes, so I can show you the method here. But basically, at item level 2, you can see the incredibly large amount of affixes that wands can roll, and notice that they're all crossed out, and that's because the wand is too low item level. It's not influenced because it's item level 2. So if you notice, we only have a few mods left to roll. This is all it can roll on an item level 2 wand, and the only thing that we are interested in is +1 to the level of all cold spell skill gems. So if we click this, we pop it up here, we tell it we're crafting it with Essences of Woes, which we'll get into in a second. You may notice, we'll talk about this a little bit, the average attempts to get what we want is going to be about 26, which again, we'll talk about in the document. But I wanted to point out that I wanted to be very transparent with this, so when I show you what to expect with the crafting, you'll understand where I'm coming from. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking to spam Essences of Woes, deafening Essences of Woes, and we're looking for the +1 to the level of cold spell skill gems. So let's get into doing just that. So let's talk crafting method here. This is exactly what you're going to be looking to do to craft this wand. Step 1, you're going to go to the coast in Act 1. This is very simple. The fastest way to do this is probably just to remove your loot filter. You're just going to kill monsters until you find them. You're going to find them all over the place. The average run through the coast yields 2 to 3 driftwood wands. So the cost is nothing. 2 minutes of your life. You can have multiples of these. If you want to just start cranking them out and selling them, you can spend 2 to 3 minutes in the coast and get like half an inventory full. Okay? Step 2 is where we start actually crafting, and that is you are going to spam Deafening Essences of Woe onto the wand. Your only goal with this method is to hit +1 to level of all cold spell skill gems. That's all you're looking for. If you don't hit that, you're rolling over until you hit that. Now, like I said before, when we looked, it's going to cost about 26 Essences of Woes on average to hit. So the cost actually works out to be almost exactly at the current price, which is 150C, almost exactly 1 exalt per hit of this. Now, I can actually I can concur with this. The one I'm going to show you in a second in my inventory that we've been using this and that we're going to finish the craft on. The first time that I hit this, it took literally 26 attempts. I hit it on the 26th. I ended up not being able to get the mods that we needed, so I had to start again. And the next one took 28. So yeah, this Craft of Exile thing is, at least for me, obviously 2 attempts is a very small sample size, but yeah, it's feels very accurate. So just note here, basically every time you do this on average, it's going to be 1 exalt per attempt. Note that if you, depending on what happens in step 3, we may be repeating this several times. So the step 3 is the important thing. Once you hit that, you are going to check for 1 open prefix and 1 open suffix. That is the ideal thing that we are looking for. Okay? If you don't have an open prefix, that's a problem. You're also going to need that suffix. So what you're going to do is if you don't have those both open, you are going to just try to annul off any of your extra prefixes, well, the only extra prefix, and one suffix. So there is the risk right there of kind of having to redo the process if you annul the % spell damage or the +1 cold skills. You're going to have to go back up here and go with more Essences of Woes until finally the goal is to actually end up with the wand that I'm going to show you. So this is the step that I'm at, because this is the part that can just take a while to spam and annul and maybe spam again. So this is what we're looking at. So again, Deafening Essences of Woes, and this is what we're looking for. We are looking at, I'm going to take this out just so we don't see this in the tooltip anymore. So what we're looking at right here is double prefix, double suffix. That's perfect. We hit our spell damage roll. We hit dead, basically dead in the middle. 87 or 88 is like the average. And then we hit our +1. So now this wand is ready to go. And at this point, it is deterministic. Once you're here, you can finish it knowing exactly what the cost is going to be. So again, it took me 2 attempts. The first time that I did this, I hit 3 prefixes and only 2 suffixes, and then my annul unfortunately hit the spell damage mod, so I restarted. So we're now at this point, okay? Here is where there is a stopping point. If you're at the point where you don't have the exalts to start doing things like the multi-modding and the prefix locking and scouring, you can stop here. As long as you have an open prefix, I could go over to my bench. I could add the benchcraft mod for cold damage over time multiplier. Right here. We just put this in. We could go down. We could select, I'm really bad at reading. Right here. We could select this for 4C. We could do it a couple times if you want to make sure you hit 20 even, and you would be done. Also, if you need to be at a stopping point, as long as you have that open suffix, like we have on that, you could benchcraft that for now, and then just leave it and go back and do this later on. So yeah, that's pretty much that's how to do it. So you're gonna have, if you stop there for the cheat method, you're gonna have random suffixes, like in our instance, just a very low cold res, very low cast speed, but that's where the next steps come in. So we are gonna go over, and instead of bench crafting cold.multi first, we are gonna bench craft the prefixes cannot be changed. Now this is where you start to, whoops, not in heist. This is where you start to get into like I said, deterministic cost. You know at this point exactly what you're going to be spending. So you go all the way down here into the suffixes, and it's down all at the bottom. So prefixes cannot be changed. So it's going to cost you 2 exalts right here. We're going to lock it in because, again, our prefixes are the things we don't want changed at all. So we lock it in. Now, all we're going to do is very simply, we're going to go in here. Like I say right here, you're now going to use an Orb of Scouring. What it's going to do is remove every suffix, because suffixes aren't protected by this, and you are going to end up with, we're going to end up with a wand. Bada boom. This is exactly what we are looking for. You're looking for a wand that only has the 2 mods that you want, which is +1 and the spell damage. So now we move on to the next step. Again, you know what the exact cost is. Move down here. Now we're going to add the multi-mod craft, which is right down there, right next to that prefix craft. You're going to go right down to the bottom, and you're going to craft on, can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. There we go. So this, if you're wondering, this counts as 1. It is that color blue of a crafted modifier. It does count as 1 of the crafted modifiers. Now we can go in. Follow me so far. Now we can go in and we can add that third tier, third level. I don't know what to call it, because tier 1 is good, but they list it as like tier 3. So the highest level of cold damage over time multiplier that we can get. No good. All right, that's fine. We got 18. That's okay. Now, here's where we have a choice. So again, traditionally, what would be done in the Vortex build is crafting the trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill mod. The new thing, like for me, I stopped using the trigger. I just genuinely don't think I need it anymore. I haven't had any issues without it. So for me, the trigger is something that I've kind of moved away from. You can still craft it. Like I said, it's still very good. It's still very effective. However, for me, I'm going to be crafting the, where is it? Right here. 13 to 16% increased cold damage. And boom. So now we've got all 3 of our crafted mods on here, and the only thing that we have left to do is we have an open suffix. So, I got to roll down. There we go. So we have 1 suffix open, right? We can go grab now. If you don't have it, you can trade for it, or you can just run Einhar missions and try to get them. You need the Venomous Beast. This is the aspect of the Spider Beast. So you're going to have to go get him in your menagerie, and then you're going to put your wand in there. You're going to fight him, and you are going to craft aspect of the spider onto your wand and finish it off perfectly. And this is a very important thing. If you're coming from the low life Vortex build, like a lot of people will be crafting this, you need to do this temporarily. You need to swap to CI. He will murder you. He has very, very high chaos damage. I've forgotten about this before, and I've gotten crushed by him. He will murder your face. So swap to CI and get that on the wand. I'm going to go do that fight so you can see the end wand, and then I will cut that right back into, you'll see me in like 2 seconds. Okay, here it is. So Venomous dead, and there we go right there. That is a beautiful, beautiful wand. Look at that thing. So there we go. The wand at this point is finished. So let's go back to this thing, and yeah, congratulations on your wand. So the cost of that final step is whatever. If you have Venomous, it's you know, whatever you either paid to get him, or just the cost is basically nothing, just running your maps and Einhar missions. Right now, as of May 18th, May 17th, May 18th, 2021, it's going somewhere in this range, 22 to 28C on the trade website. So let's talk cost, and then one other special thing. So there is a variable cost, right? We'll get to that in a second. Let's go down to fixed cost. Once you get to the point where you have 2 prefixes, 2 suffixes, your costs are fixed. You know exactly what they are. If you want to finish out the wand fully, it's 2x for your prefixes, can't be changed. Then it's 1 scour. I include that in there just for full transparency, and I think it's hilarious. And then you're looking at 2x for the multi-mod, 25C for the aspect, and then you're also looking at whatever the very minor costs are. I should have put this in here, but I guess it's variable. Whatever the costs are for the crafts that you're looking for. So like it'll be a little bit different for the trigger or the cold damage or your spell crit, whatever you want that extra mod to be. And then you're looking at 4 chaos for the cold dot multi-roll. So the variable cost comes in with those essence hits and the annul. So you're looking at an average of almost exactly 1 exalt per time you're going to roll the +1 cold gems mod, and then basically 3 chaos per annuls. Annuls are super cheap. You're going to, again, try to annul that, and if you miss, you're going to have to go back and do this every time you miss with those annuls. So low end estimate, you're looking at the 4x, the 25C, and hopefully you get it on your first try. So you could be looking at around here. Realistically, if you're going to miss, 1, 2, 3 times, you're probably looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 to 8x, maybe a little more if you're unlucky, or a little bit less if you're lucky. So with that said, again, in comparison to this, it's just not even close. I mean, you would consider yourself to have bad luck if it took you 10x to craft this very, very powerful. Look at the wand again. That's a very, very powerful wand. So to get away with it, even unlucky at 10x, yeah, you're looking at hopefully being pretty happy with the wand that you're able to get there. So the last thing that I want to mention before we look at the comparison in the POB, actually, I will. You know what? Let's look at the POB right away. So we're looking. I went a little overboard with the names, but I want you to get the picture here. So this is basically a low life setup designed to mirror the Cirrus fight. So it's got a lot of configuration set pretty low because we haven't killed recently, all that. So the DPS numbers are a little bit low, but I wanted to use it because it's a good example. So with the overpriced wand, this is literally a direct mirror of this wand, of the 35 Exalt wand. I took every one of these mods, the +2, the perfect implicit, even this elemental damage, and the 20% cold dot multi. We put it all on there. So this is the exact wand. We look at about 3.1 mil, almost dead on 3.1 mil. Now we go to our driftwood wand. Look, we're just, it's a 5% that you notice if you move it over here. 5.5% total DPS gain from moving to that opal wand. So we're looking at, you know, let's say we even got unlucky and it took us 10x to craft. We're looking at spending 3.5 times this amount for this wand and getting a 5% DPS boost. So yeah, this method is going to serve you really well. I just don't see any way this is not leading to by far the best wand in terms of power level and combined cost to craft. So with that being said, we do have a way to eke out a little bit more damage, because obviously the downside of this weapon as it is that it is a driftwood wand base. So we're looking at only a 12% spell damage implicit. So there's two things I want to mention. The first is you should go take a look at Carr's video again. The two other methods that he describes are using fossils to get a slightly better wand, either at item level 4 or at item level 12. So you should check those out. The total cost is going to be a bit higher, the base cost. So you may be looking at a few more exalts, but if it's worth it to you, you should definitely go check that out. Now the final method is why this div card has been sitting here, and that is a special way that I think is actually super viable, even in SSF, but especially in Trade League, for getting a much better base, meaning a much better and higher spell damage implicit, and that is obliterations. So this is the spicy method right here, and it's corrupting obliterations. So just follow me here on a sec. I'm just going to explain this very briefly. Again, this is also something Carv goes over in his video in very high detail. So I'm going to go at it very briefly. The method for trying to get an obliteration, the reason we do this is the demon horn base. Obliteration is a demon's horn. I think I have a bunch right here. There we go. Obliteration is a demon's horn. That implicit goes 31 to 35%, which is obviously about 3 times as good as our driftwood base. So if we turn in a set of the Dark Temptation, now this is the most important part. You have to turn in sets. You can't just get it. We can't do this method with this one because it's item level 83. What you need to do is get sets of the obliteration div card, and you need to turn them in with a character that is level 2 exactly. When you do that, you're going to get an obliteration back, but that obliteration is going to be item level 2. And again, Carv explains this in a lot more detail, but that's what you need to know. You need to turn in the obliteration set with a level 2 character. So just make a new person, go kill Hillock, get into Lion Eyes Watch, and use that character to turn in obliterations. Now, when you have your eye level 2 obliterations, you're just going to vol them. What you're trying to do is you are trying to vol your obliterations into a rare Demon's Horn. You want it to brick on purpose. That's what's super fun about this method. Once you have a rare, a bricked obliteration, so it's not going to be obliteration anymore, what you're going to have is an item level 2 rare corrupted Demon's Horn. Now, if you get 4 more Demon's Horns, it doesn't matter where you get them from. It doesn't matter what their item level is. You need to get 4 more rare Demon's Horns. If you trade in 5 of them to a vendor, that is a vendor recipe. And what you're going to get back is a random rare Demon's Horn. But the thing with the vendor recipe is the item that you get back is going to be the item level of the lowest item level traded. So what you're going to have is this rare corrupted former obliteration, 4 other Demon's Horns. You're going to trade all of them to Zana or whoever your NPC of choice is, and you're going to get back an uncorrupted rare item level 2 Demon's Horn. And at that point, you can start back here with this method. You can get it all set. You can just do this whole method on it, and you can get yourself this wand, but with a higher implicit. So that's it. I know this went. I'm pretty typically. I don't think it's possible for me to make a video under 20 minutes explaining anything. But at the end of the day, this is the type of wand that you're going to end up with. So we can get rid of garbage wands, and we can get all our stuff in here. And this is the wand that you can have for, again, 5 to 10 times cheaper than equivalent wands that are just barely better, but are going to cost you 5 to 10 times as much on the trade market. So use this method, have a lot of fun with it. Hopefully this helps you. If this was helpful, again, we're going to be putting out more of the crafting guides for other items and things in the build Coming up next is probably going to be large cluster jewels and medium cluster jewels, which we've had a lot of fun making on stream. And actually that's funded this whole crafting video project. So yeah, if this has been helpful for you, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Something like 90% of people are still not subscribed. And that would really help me out. It would get these videos out to more people, and it would help me in making them. And please visit me on Twitch. I know usually I have the camera on for this pitch so I can look at you with the puppy dog eyes, but we have a lot of fun on Twitch. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. Of course, I'm making this video the week I'm going to leave for my brother's wedding, so I'm not going to stream. I'm going to miss one of those stream nights. But yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday on Twitch at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a good time, and I hope to see you there. I hope this video has been helpful. I've been Shack Central, and I will see you guys in the next one.